Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. And when you're talking about boxing and the ladies, you can find yourself talking more about Claressa Shields than you want to, but every day she gives us great content. So we got to talk about it. Now, take a look at this. Now, remember yesterday, Punch Drunk threw some stuff out there about Claressa that he got from definitely a reliable source. I think it's the Athletic Commission out there in Georgia. Bottom line, Claressa got a guaranteed $500K. K. Scott made $54,320, and many of us believe that that is not a balanced payout, especially when K. Scott was bringing the two belts to the fight as a champion. But this is what got me, Claressa. She goes, "This is inaccurate." So she out here saying that what's being reported by the Georgia, I think it's the Athletic Commission. The bottom line is she's saying that she thinks she's saying it's inaccurate. And we're sitting here like, yo, we can't take you serious. We can't take you serious. So you have the payouts that's being disclosed. I mean, from the source doesn't get any more credible than the damn athletic, is it the sporting commission, a boxing commission, whatever the title is, right? It came right from them. They're not making up numbers. It's like Punch didn't get it from me. He didn't get it from someone else on the internet. You know what I'm saying? So for her to say it's inaccurate, it just has people out here like, yo, there's no trust in her and her team, anyone. Matter of fact, check out this thumbnail. This is where we're at, man. 500K, everybody questioning the 8 million, questioning her. Like, there's no trust. And that's what happens. When you're out here bragging, and then people find out that you're lying, you got a problem. You see? Now, I want to make sure everyone understands the distinction is very important, that you can brag and not lie. You know what I'm saying? But Claressa, in my opinion, from the facts presented, she's bragging about lies, man, and now they've been caught in a lie. Does she have a multi-million-dollar contract? Maybe, but we got to question that. Signing bonuses, any appearance fees, pay-per-view participation, merchandise, sponsorships, investments, business interests, future contractual guarantees. Let me tell you something. Everything is being questioned now. You know what I'm saying? Because now we realize that her guarantees are much lower than what she said. Now, we understand back-end money, but that's not what they put out there. You know what I'm saying? It's ridiculous. These things that they're out here reporting, the contract value, this is $8 million, $3 million bonus. But then you come and look at the cash that's being earned. It's what they say, the math ain't math. It's not adding up. We can't connect the dots on this. She was describing her deal as an $8 million guarantee over 4 fights, $2 million a fight. She could either fight all 4 fights in 1 year. She could take 3 fights 1 year, 1 fight the next, 2 and 2, 1 fight this year, 3 fights the next year. That's what she said. And nobody thought the $8 million was going to be deposited in her bank account immediately. She's the one that came out here and said, Ben did that, got the $3 million. Then one time she said Ben got the $8 million. She said so many things to where none of it makes sense. What is it? But right now we know it's not going to make sense because we don't even want to hear no more. What does she make for a bonus for the particular fight? What's the contract? What's the contract value? What's the net worth? You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Her assets minus her liabilities. What's the annual income? What's the endorsement income if you have any? You see, everybody is sitting here looking at Claressa now, and it ain't that nobody's trying to jump in her pockets. Most people I know are doing damn good in life. Matter of fact, if she's only making 500,000, and then Papoose gets a piece of that, then Demetrius Salita gets a piece of that. You figure they're getting 20% each, and then you figure she paying everybody else, and then taxes. Shit, most of us making more than what Claressa make, for at least for that one fight. Most of us make more than that in a year. And she's only doing 6 rounds, but she's supposed to be making these millions of dollars. And most of us are making more than what she's making. And if she fights once a year, we're making more than her. Even if she fights twice a year, some of us are making more than her. So there are different numbers that they keep throwing out there, but we finally got something that's, I think, is concrete. And what we now know is that Claressa, we don't know about the back end money, but we know that she ain't getting no $2 million guarantees. So why would somebody want the public to think they're richer? See, this is the thing I don't understand. I always had a poor man mentality. It don't matter what I've accomplished in life. I will always had a poor man mentality. I would never change that about me. I'm cool, man. Dirt floor, galvanized roof. I don't give a shit. But life is great now, but don't get me wrong, I can live like that. I ain't out here trying to front like I'm something more than I am. I am what I am, and I don't care what no one thinks about me. She seemed to care what people think about her. That's why she be out here lying. All of her claims are knowingly exaggerated. Knowingly exaggerated. From how much money she has, to her ass, to her how smart she is, to everything. I mean, don't get me wrong. Look, I can't diagnose Claressa Shields from public behavior, but obviously there's something going on there. And of course, they've had people come out and talk about the different things, and I ain't here to come and twist arms and make her look crazy. I'm just saying I can discuss possible. We can discuss possible psychological mechanisms, but I can't declare that she has any kind of disorder, because who am I? But I can tell you that she's worried about her status. I think that's one of the main motivators right there, is like my status. It's a competition. She's looking at what everybody else is doing, and she want, for some reason, to convince us that she's doing better than everyone else. And I think money is one of the easiest ways for celebrities to communicate. I've made it. I'm here. I've arrived. But where she's gone wrong is she's like looking at her financial status and thinking that because of her financial status that her dignity is different from everyone else's. No, we all share the same dignity, although our status in life may be a bit different. But we all share the same dignity. So it's cool that you feel like you made it. Great. Nothing wrong with that. Financial success can become part of a fighter's identity. You know what I mean? We understand that, especially in a sport where athletes historically haven't been paid equally. But this shit about I'm the best, I'm the this, I'm the that. Man, please. Okay. For an elite athlete, identity can become heavily connected to achievement. Claressa is someone who's used to being recognized, being awarded. She won 2 gold medals. You know what I mean? Her whole life. She probably heard, I'm different, I'm special, you're the best, you're destined for greatness, you got 2 gold medals, everything going her way. And what ends up happening, I just think a person may begin protecting that identity very aggressively. And that's where things get complicated, because admitting I don't have as much money as people think, or I'm not as disciplined as people think, or I don't want to get into the big fights that present a huge threat like people think that I want to. You know what I mean? If you really are honest with yourself, that could psychologically feel like maybe I'm not as successful as people think I am. You know what I'm saying? And those aren't objectively the same thing, but emotionally they can become connected. And I think that's what we're seeing here. You see, I like to read up on a lot of this bullshit because Claressa's interesting to me. She's like a case study. And I'm sitting here taking a look at her and trying to understand her, because she in the breeze. She don't know if she's going up or down, left or right. She don't know what she's doing. And it's my understanding when it comes to psychology, a lot of psychologists have long studied how people evaluate themselves relative to others. And with celebrities exist in an environment where comparison is constant. You look at Claressa, social media, Instagram, TikTok, going on interviews, podcasts, on YouTube, boxing media, other fighters, other athletes, every day, some shit going on with her. She announcing something, she's saying something. Oh, the deal, I'm the highest paid, something millions. She done came out here and created enormous pressure to maintain status. That's why she's saying those numbers are inaccurate, because she has to maintain a status. But look, man, the cover's been blown. Money has become part of her brand. She thought she was Money Mayweather. Who she supposed to be? Money Goat Weather? You know what I'm saying? Floyd Shields? I mean, what are we doing here? I'm making millions. That's what she can. I'm making millions. That shit, to me, I thought it just seems now it's marketing. You know, maybe she's just trying to let people know that she's valuable, or trying to tell her opponents, her competition, I'm a superstar. Trying to make us fans feel like, I'm worth paying to see. You're gonna get your dollar's worth. But I really think that was a way to try to tell sponsors I have a premium audience, and that's why financial image for her and her team, I think, has become part of sports marketing. But it hasn't worked out because there's nobody jumping through hoops to get to her and work with her because of the attitude. And that's the danger. The public has discovered information that appears to be inconsistent with the image. And now the narrative that she was trying to create, some bought into it. Most of us didn't. But anyway, those who bought into it, that narrative completely reversed. Instead of people saying now, man, wow, she's successful. Ooh, he, ha, he, here we go. Oh boy. Man, please. They ain't saying that. They saying, damn, big woke lion and shit. But what else isn't true? That's where we at with this. That's the dangerous part. The original financial claim may be relatively minor. Nobody really tripping on that. Everybody, them athletes be talking about money. Male and female. Everybody talking about their little dough, whatever. Anybody who got a little bit, who bettered themselves financially from where they came from, we all feel good about ourselves, right? But once trust is damaged, people begin examining everything. Now they got people trying to put the IRS all up in her ass, all up in her ass. And that's crazy. But I'm telling you, a celebrity who has credibility can make a questionable statement, and fans may say, well, there's probably an explanation. But when you have someone like a Claressa Shields who's lost credibility, we're like, here we go again. And that's what we say every day. Ah, Lord have mercy, here we go again. You see, that exact statement produces completely different reactions. I call this a trust tax. Once trust declines, the person has to work much harder to convince people of ordinary facts. And that is what she's going through. You know what I'm saying? And I think people need to be very careful. Because even I don't know when it comes to Claressa Shields and her associates. I think people are out here intentionally making up stuff. You know what I'm saying? But I can't say, oh, it's a fact. They're intentionally lying about everything. There's some things for sure I believe 100%. The other thing, I don't know. But I do think as long as the people on the internet continue digging, they're gonna find evidence demonstrating knowledge and intent that Claressa Shields' associates and herself have intentionally lied to the masses. You know what I'm saying? I'm just telling you, that's the truth. They came out here trying to amplify her image after the Layla Ali fallout. You know, that's what happened. And since then, they haven't stopped. They haven't stopped. And I think that's because of the team, man. The team wants to benefit. They want to make sure that Claressa is perceived as wealthy, powerful, successful, marketable, influential, highly demanded. Because they feel like we got to try to sell a brand. You know what I'm saying? So that's not automatically deception. They're hustling because they're thinking if we get this right and we push it this way and make everybody think these things, that may attract more money and we benefit. But what they've done is, to me, they've sacrificed Claressa Shields' brand and her image and her reputation and everything. And now she's just there in the breeze. She barely holding on. Only reason why she holding on is because she can fight. But she barely holding on to that after fighting K. Scott, which a fight many people say, no, that shit was whack. The one before that, where she fought Franshaw, people said that was whack. And the one before that, I think she fought Lenite Daniels, and people said that was whack. It's like a goddamn circus. So her last 3 fights, look at the age of the fighters, and look at how the fights went. People ain't giving her no credit for that. They far from slow. People are paying attention. And they're interpreting her career as a joke now. You know what I'm saying? So I just think the ethical line is crossed when people knowingly present false material information as fact. And once the fans pick up on that, oh man, that's it for you. It's over. And then you out here minimizing other people's accomplishments. That's a psychological issue, folks. Sometimes people want to elevate themselves by attacking someone else's status. Look at how she is with the average Joe online who's just some civilian. Look how she is with other athletes, boxers, everyone. Always attacking someone's status. You know what I'm saying? You want to say, I'm great? Good. Don't be out here talking about, well, she's not great or he's not great. You want to say you smart? Cool. Don't call everybody else dumb. You want to say you pretty? Cool. Don't call everybody else ugly. This downward social comparison is what that is. You know what I'm saying? It's a psychological payoff. If I can reduce your status, my relative status increases. That's what's going on here. And this shit can be particularly powerful in boxing. Boxing's already a status-heavy environment, you know what I mean? They want to know, well, who's the greatest woman of all time? Layla Ali, Amanda Serrano? Is it Claressa Shields? Who is it? Katie Taylor? Who is it? Ann Wolf? Who is it? Who's pound for pound number one? Who's the most feared? Who's the highest paid? Who's the biggest draw? Who has the best resume? Who's the most famous? Who's the most beautiful, most athletic, most marketable? Every argument becomes a ranking in boxing. So I get it. That environment can encourage fighters to aggressively defend their position. We get it. We follow boxing. We understand all that makes sense, but attacking people can backfire. And here's the paradox. Someone might think, if I make her look small, I look bigger. That's Claressa. That's the way she moves. That's the way her team moves. But the audience is interpreting it as, why is she so threatened by these people? Especially the ladies. Ladies coming out here, like, for example, Baumgartner. And Baumgartner ain't the only one that's in shape. They got some women. I saw some weigh-ins today. I was like, yikes. Holy moly. I seen them women come on this stage, boy. And I seen the little bumper and stuff, man, bouncing around. I was like, Jesus Christ. They got some nice looking women out here. But maybe Claressa's looking at that and she feels threatened. Because there's some nicely built female boxers running around here. And them weigh-ins have a man's tongue hanging out his mouth, wrapped around his head, dragging across his scalp, with saliva hitting all 4 corners of the goddamn room. There's some good looking women. And Claressa probably looking at that and just feeling threatened. And that's a completely different perception, you know what I'm saying? But the attack, I think it's intended to increase status, is what Claressa's doing. That's why she attacks everybody. Young, old, in between. She don't care. She's trying to increase her status, but she's actually decreased it. But don't seem like she realized that shit. You know what I'm saying? And that's why you look at fans. Fans have the way they feel. If I get 50 calls on the live, maybe 2 of somebody saying something positive about Claressa. But the majority don't. She need to pay attention to that. She's getting real-time feedback. Because people believe a celebrity like Claressa Shields should be straightforward, but they're like, yo, she's deliberately misleading us. So all of a sudden, different emotions start to appear. Her team, even Demetrius Salita, he's been attached to the bullshit now. They're like, yo, betrayal. I hear him. Yo, I supported you, but you out here lying. Then the anger. Yo, she think we stupid, hood. Then the embarrassment. You know what, man? I used to defend her. I feel stupid, man, for defending this girl. Then you got the resentment. You got people out here struggling. You pretend to be something you're not. And then the distrust. Man, fuck this. I don't believe anything she says anymore. But that last one is the most damaging. You see that stuff that they pulled on her? That really destroyed her. And then, of course, the glove, that's the money thing, the guarantee, lying about the money. That killed her right there. And then the thing about the gloves, we're still trying to understand that one. You know what I mean? She came out here and just clipped K. Scott. I didn't think nothing of it. I just said, boom, she hit her with a shot she didn't see. Speed, and she put everything into it. You're going to get hurt. You don't have to even hit somebody hard. If you hit them with a shot they don't see, you mess them up. But then to see her ain't taking off the gloves, well, of course, people are going to become suspicious and wonder why you ain't take off the gloves. I still need to watch that video at the post-fight press conference to see when she took them off, if she took them off above the table, under the table, if she took off the hand wraps. I want to see now. But now everybody's is looking at it because I still haven't got anyone to come and say why she kept the gloves on. So again, distrust is the most damaging, and that's what she's dealing with. You see? Because if you listen to people now, they're like, nothing she says is true. And that's the effect. Once you develop a reputation for exaggeration, even truthful statements become harder to sell. That's devastating for a professional athlete. Claressa is out here. She can announce, I have a legitimate $8 million contract. And instead of celebrating, people are saying, sure. You see, when she first dropped it, a lot of us were confused, but we were like, we don't believe it, but we got to trust what she's saying, but we can't verify it. But it seems odd, but it's like, okay, whatever. You know, whatever, maybe. But the timing seemed off. That's why it's always been questioned. It didn't make sense. Because she immediately wanted to come down there and break down Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor, and she's the highest paid athlete. A big set of bullshit, because those women together made over, in one fight, over 18, 19 million. So they both in one fight made more than what Claressa supposedly is making over her 4 fights in her deal. So the whole thing is just bullshit. So if only somebody could really get access of that contract and get access of her tax records and find out what she's really making, then we could come out here and say, all right, Claressa, you were right, we were wrong. But right now, there's no trust, so nobody believes it. And that's what happens. There's an effect, man. Nothing she says is true. And when you look at the short-term consequences, when you got fans out here now, well, they already have, but more than ever, they see her as someone who's dishonest. Consequences are, right now, they're including lower engagement. People stop watching interviews. People stop watching her fights. That's why they had to bring Zeus on. The comments have become more hostile than ever. You know what I mean? Everything has become hostile for her. You know, there's less goodwill. Fans don't want to forgive nothing. Increased scrutiny. That's why they went out there and contacting the IRS, contacting athletic commissions. Everybody's on her. They're watching her money now. You know, they're like, nah, something ain't right. People talking about who has 3 and 4 different business names. There's people looking at all kind of shit now. I sit back, I'm like, God damn, boy. They really played this all wrong. You got people out here digging, boy. Digging. So if Claressa and them are up to no good, they better brace themselves and buckle their seatbelts because they're in for a ride. Because they lost the benefit of the doubt. The audience assumes the worst when it comes to her, when it comes to her team. But those are short-term consequences. But the long-term, this is where it can really hurt her. Sponsorships, they already don't want to deal with her. They're like, yeah, she's talented, but is she trustworthy? They're like, no. They already weren't dealing with her. You think they're going to deal with her now? She has a controversial, toxic personality. And there is some commercial value, but brands carefully evaluate reputational risk. Remember, she went out here and slapped Baumgartner. So that right there definitely didn't get her a step closer to no goddamn endorsement deals or sponsorships. And when it comes to promoters, they need athletes who can generate attention without creating unnecessary business problems. That's why it makes you wonder why Demetrius Salita is okay with the bullshit. Or maybe he's not. Maybe he just said, look, Wynn Records, y'all handle it. You guys are all from the ghetto. I'm not. You know better than me about the urban audience. I don't. Yeah, I was a pro boxer, but I don't know about the urban audience. I'll let you handle that. Bob Arum had to figure that shit out. He had Mayweather, he dropped the ball. You know what I mean? He had Terrence Crawford, he dropped the ball. Even he admitted, well, yeah, I didn't understand the urban audience, so there was some missed opportunities there. Well, good job, Bob. You finally admitted that you didn't understand the urban audience. The people from, like Don King would say, the ghetto. But I'm telling you right now, I think Wynn Records is taking Claressa the wrong direction because she's got the attention, but she's created unnecessary business problems. Now, when it comes to matchmaking, a lot of fighters, I don't think they want to work with. That's why they had to make the K. Scott fight. I don't think people want to work with her. The negotiations, now we know why. One, she's toxic. Two, they don't know if she's gonna assault him. Three, they trying to suck out their eyeballs. How K. Scott get a $54,000 payday? What is that? That's a travesty. You think these other women gonna come out here and fight Claressa Shields for some peanuts? You crazy? So she better hope Demetrius Salita got another one up his sleeve because she ain't getting no other fights. You think she gonna pull that shit with Lauren Price? $54,000, man. She crazy. Lauren Price getting paid good money. She gonna come take $54,000 to Big Whoop? Hell no. And this is just the reality, you know. Claressa's accomplishments have become overshadowed by the controversy. You know what I'm saying? But I think she gonna wake up. It don't mean she gonna wake up and do the right thing, but I think she gonna wake up. At least she gonna open up one of them eyeballs because the performance cost is more than what she can handle. You know, she's out here constantly defending a public image. That consumes mental energy. When she came on my channel, she was like, it's a lot. She took a deep breath and she said, man, it's a lot. And I felt that at the time. But that's January this year. Here we are in August. I don't feel nothing. Because I wake up every day and I see that she's out here lying. She being jealous. She's actually out here calling people broke. She's actually being arrogant. She's being fake. And the thing is, people are now saying this about her. Oh, she's lying. She's jealous. Her ass is broke. She arrogant. She thinks she all that. She's not. She's ugly. She fake. She's dirty. She's this. People weren't talking like that about Claressa a year ago. And then she responds to all of it. And that creates an enormous distraction. You see, elite athletes need to control the attention, the emotional regulation, the recovery, the preparation, the focus, the confidence. She doesn't do that. You know what I'm saying? She's there engaged in everything. And if social media constantly becomes another battlefield, which it has for her, that can interfere with the mental environment needed for elite performance. And that's why I think when she got in there against K. Scott was landing shots. K. Scott wasn't supposed to be landing on her like that. K. Scott was hitting her with the hook and everything. K. Scott's slow. But I also have to realize, understand, Claressa been fighting for quite some time now. Claressa's on the decline. She was at her prime and now she's coming out of her prime. You know what I'm saying? You throw something up in the air, it'll suspend in the air for a split second, then it starts to drop, starts to descend. Claressa was up there in the air for a split second. She's on the descent now. She hasn't hit rock bottom, but she's on the way down. And I'm just being real with you. That's why I think when you look at her and you see the confidence, but then you also see more like an ego defense, you know what I'm saying? And I think there's an important distinction. You know, you can have healthy confidence where I know what I'm capable of. And then you got the fragile self-presentation where it's like she's got to convince everyone that she's superior. That seems to be where she's at. That's the space. Because a confident athlete can say, and they can also lose and say, you know what, I wasn't good enough tonight. But an athlete whose identity depends entirely on superiority, they'll have a harder time accepting criticism or setbacks. And that's Claressa Shields. And that's why she gets mad when everybody is sitting here talking about the opponent she's been facing. And it looks like she's just cherry picking. It looks like she's picking fighters she can beat. She's comfortable with. That's why she's quick to come out here. Well, look, Danielle Perkins, she got a knockout in her next fight after she fought me. Someone who people thought that was going to beat her. Oh, look, Lanai Daniels came and beat Shadesha. Y'all said Shadesha was going to beat me. So she want to come out here and make sure that she can maintain that image of superiority. Because she doesn't want to accept the criticism that when Lanai Daniels fought Claressa Shields, she ran all around the ring. When Danielle Perkins fought Claressa Shields, she was a pro fighter, but she was green. She didn't know what she was doing in there. But since signing with Claressa, she's been getting the training she needs, and she does look better. She does look way better. Lanai Daniels ended up losing her next fight after fighting Claressa. She went to Germany and lost. Then after that, she hooks up with a new trainer, and all of a sudden she beats Shadesha. But I watched that fight, and I got an opinion on that fight. I ain't gonna get into that. So Claressa, she can come out and say what she wants. I'm just giving like a general psychological distinction. I can't diagnose it, but I do know that she doesn't have healthy confidence. She has fragile self-presentation, in my opinion, where she's trying to convince everyone that she's superior. But I'll just say this. I don't think money's the problem. I think credibility is the problem. And I'm being real. I think credibility is the problem. If someone says, hey, Hood, I'm worth 10 million, and they actually have 8 million, nobody really cares. But if the public believes someone knowingly manufactures false information, the audience begins questioning the person's entire identity, and that's what they're doing with Claressa. That's why everybody talk about Claressa. They talk about Snack. They talk about her losing weight if she took Ozempic. They're talking about everything. The money and the car. Was the car stolen? Was it a lease? The house that she rented, that she owned it. The house looked dirty. There's a goddamn fire alarm need the battery changed out. Clothes everywhere. You got belts just scattered everywhere. You know what I mean? Saw a pair of underwear on the ground with skid marks. They just look at everything. Your whole identity, the way you live life, everything. How you talk to people, how you talk to children, everything. That dog you got over there looked like he hungry and had water in 2 weeks. Can't even throw him a bone. And I know they're eating turkey goddamn drumsticks and shit over there. Always attacking other people to make yourself look better. But the internet ain't easing up. Insecurity, man. Feeling threatened by another person's success. Watching them women on MVP. Money they making. Watching them, all these different women and how they look. Who's pretty and who got body and who got nice skin and who teeth are nice. Who don't have to put on a whole bunch of makeup. Looking at it, it's insecure about everything. I want to talk about what your poom poom can do. I get papoose this poom poom pudding. Flint's finest right here. Always talking about your status, trying to protect it. Someone else rising, want to threaten it, feel like they're threatening your position. Tab taboo. She's good, but yeah, she's green. She a little green. She don't have enough experience. But then look at who you fighting. These social comparisons. Evaluating yourself relative to another person. Competitiveness. View relationships as zero sum. If she wins, I lose. You know what I'm saying? Everything is a competition, but we get it. We get it. But this shit really goes back to that dark triad personality, you know what I'm saying? Narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy. That's what this shit goes back to. This shit involving excessive status seeking, admiration seeking, the difficulty tolerating criticism. Yo, I'm just saying. I can't diagnose anyone, but we've had people call in and break that down, that dark triad personality disorder, them personality traits. They say, yo, Claressa has it. We've had people with PhDs and master's degrees and who are working in the field. And they came on and said, if this is what I'm seeing, this would be my clinical diagnosis. So these were professional evaluators who called in and they gave their opinion. But at the end of the day, the audience eventually becomes a judge, and people are sitting back watching this, And they're just saying this whole strategy that Claressa and her team had to try to make her into this superstar, larger than life figure is backfired. You know, they collectively had tried to tell us how smart she is, how beautiful she is, how great of a fighter she is, how rich she is, how smart she is, that she's the greatest. Everyone's jealous. They want to be in her position. She runs shit. Okay, we heard that, but eventually people said, all right, shut up. We're going to decide for ourselves. We don't hear what y'all saying. We don't want to hear y'all no more. Shut up. Let us listen. Let us make a determination on what's really going on here. We don't need you to try to determine nothing for us. And I'm telling you, when the audience feels that you're constantly telling them how superior you are, they start doing what they're doing right now. So why you need us to believe it so badly? That's a brutal question for someone like Claressa. Claressa, we hear you, but why you need us to believe you so badly? Why are you still talking about it? Get over it. We know. Why you keep talking about the gold medals and the world title? We already know. Why you want us to believe? Why you keep reminding us of it? This shit's like stale bread. Get out of here. We don't want that. And I think that's a brutal question. That's why she reminded, because without that, she's nothing. You know what I'm saying? So I just think when it comes to boxing, the best way to establish greatness is ultimately fight. Just fight, man. Win. Beat elite opponents. Don't cherry pick. Elite opponents. Win your championships. Take the big risk. Go up in weight. Go down in weight. And that applies to all the females. You got to perform under pressure. Build a resume. The belt doesn't need a publicist. You know what I'm saying? The record doesn't need Instagram. Let your performance speak for itself. But you got to put on a top-notch performance against an elite opponent. You can't be in there against people where everyone already knows you're going to win. You're going to lose the fan, lose the people, lose support, and your events are going to become very quiet. So, I don't know. I try to be fair because when you think about Claressa Shields' personality, it is what it is. She's straight Sesame Street. But the boxing resume, it's on point. Gold medals, championships, weight classes, all that. I mean, that's a big deal. Her financial situation, I read that something going on in it, but she's making good money. She should be a millionaire. She should be okay. But we just can't trust what they say anymore. We just can't. So I don't think it's a matter of people precisely saying and criticizing her she's not successful. I think we all know that. She's okay. But it's more like stop exaggerating the success. You know what I mean? You've done well. You've accomplished a lot. Some people aren't going to be able to accomplish what you've done as an amateur, as a pro. But stop exaggerating the success. Stop goddamn lying. As a matter of fact, hold your horses and stop taking it to the stupid. Out here lying. See, that's the argument right there. And that's the irony. It's wild. She's done things that can't be faked. You know what I'm saying? That shit she got some tangible shit out there. The fights, the titles, the championship, the gold medals. I mean, so when you have a resume, this is what I don't understand. Why risk public credibility over financial image? Because Papoose and Wynn Records then got involved. Why would you go and do that? Nobody was doing her like this. I'm telling you, man. Nobody was doing her like this. So that's my question. Why would you just risk your credibility over these people making you think you need to dress up with furs and ride in a Rolls Royce and put on a wig and a bunch of goddamn makeup talking about, oh, look at me, like a Chinese doll, black Chinese doll. I'm the black Chinese. I look like a black Chinese. I'm Blackanese. I'm black Chinese. You don't look like no goddamn black Chinese doll. You look like someone who put on a whole lot of makeup and you got nice brown skin. Why you want to do that? You're a female. But as a man, you and I, our skin color about the same. What you doing? You ain't proud of that brown skin you got, woman? See, maybe you need to have Hood Champion as someone to talk to every now and then. I have you real comfortable in your skin without the makeup, without the wigs. Ain't nothing wrong with rocking cornrows. Ain't nothing wrong with a little blemish, a little cut in your face. You a boxer. All the makeup and all that shit ain't beauty. That shit's a costume. It's okay to be who you are. Never question the way the big man made you. Stop that bullshit, man. Worry about your public image, man, financial image, and looking at what everybody else have. I glowed up. Man, now you ain't glowed up. You just got makeup on. You just got makeup on. You can still dress nice and everything. You don't need to put all that on. It is what it is. There aren't many women who are comfortable enough to just rock, to go outside and rock out without makeup. Most of us, man, we like that. Even these women with BBLs and all that, well, they can do what they want. But most of us like the natural. So just keep everything natural. But the bottom line is, your attitude sucks, so nobody likes you anyway, so I guess you do whatever you want. So I think that's the biggest lesson here. If you're a professional athlete, Claressa Shields is a professional athlete. You know what I'm saying? Just let your resume create the status. Let your fighting create the chaos. You know what I mean? Don't try to manufacture things. Don't be out here lying. Let everything that you do speak for itself. If your contract is for 8 million, show it. Prove to the world. You know what I mean? If it's only 4 million, if it's 1 million or 500,000, whatever it is, just be honest. Stop exaggerating everything. Because we really don't give a shit. We just want to see good fights. You know what I mean? Let your fist do the talking against elite opposition. Let the ticket sales speak. You know what I mean? Figure it out. I think it's too late, but if you would have figured out a way to get the endorsements, could have let that speak. But it's over now. That ain't gonna happen. Performances are being questioned. Everything's being questioned. But that's what happens when the public believes you're trying to convince them of something that isn't true. The conversation has changed. Even for me. I'm no longer saying how great she is as a boxer or as an athlete. Even I'm like, shit, what else is she hiding? Drinking that water. I just came from running. Ran outside for an hour in that heat. Feel like I'm about to goddamn die, but I'm good now. But that's what the questions become. What else is Claressa hiding? Like that's what I'm asking. You know what I'm saying? I'm being honest with you. I just want to know what else is she hiding. Because I just think that's a terrible place to be if you're a superstar. But people out here looking at you and just thinking that you're lying. $500,000 guaranteed for a fight. $8 million contract, yeah, right. $3 million signing bonus, yeah, right. Nobody believes you now. You took it to the stupid. Anyway, y'all keep cool, man. All these millions and millions of dollars, all these diamonds and expensive cars and furs, and who got a pet tiger, and someone got a pet elephant like Coming to America named Babar, and I mean all kind of shit. Fake success claims, you know what I mean? And nobody trusts it anymore, so did it to yourself. Y'all keep cool. Exaggeration, exaggeration, exaggeration. On top of bad attitude will result in people being all up in your business, trying to bring you down. Y'all keep cool. I'm in the breeze.